Welcome to Toffee TV. This video is brought to you in association with The Athletic, where you can get a 7-day trial at the moment and 50% off your annual subscription if you want to. Go and check it out. You might as well. 7 days free. Go and check it out. Have a little look. See if you like it. If you don't like it, there you go. If you do like it, you can get 50% off. The link is in the description if you want to check that out. They've got some excellent writers, Everton writers, Paddy Boyle, Lund and Greg O'Keefe. They'll be giving you all the insight to what's going on at Everton at the moment. They have a podcast as well. There's loads of other footy stuff on there, loads of other sports. If you're interested in all the American sports, they've got them well covered. That's where they all started, in America. So check that out. The link is in the description. And there is a story on there at the moment regarding Mason Holgate and how, if there is a potential incoming centre-back, Mason Holgate could be the preferred player to play alongside that player, whoever that player could be.
Whoever it is.
Whoever it is.
Yeah, the article, mainly by Paddy Boyland, is talking about how Holgate established himself under Carlo Ancelotti. Started 10 of the 11 games under Ancelotti in the Premier League. And has done really well. And he's done really well all season, in all fairness, since he got in the side. Came into the team October time, I think it was. Obviously, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane started the season. And the article says, you know, that Everton were very much looking at bringing someone in like Kurt. Well, they were looking at bringing Kurt Zouma in, not someone like Kurt Zouma. And then obviously there was Fikayo Tomori as well, who we thought we were getting on loan. There was an inquiry, there was an inquiry for Marcus Rojo on deadline day and Chris Smalling, as Marco Silva was looking for another centre-back. And I think Holgate he'd had a really good time at West Brom, hadn't he? The back end of last season, and he came back, and we watched him in pre-season, and he was a bit unsure still. There was some excellent stuff, and then a couple of moments where he was a bit rusty, and he wasn't in the team, but forced his way in. Well, Michael Keane, let's be honest, played his way out the team, didn't he? And then Holgate got in, and since he's got in, Yerry Mina, they've been the best too. And I think Mina, for me, has been Everton's most consistent player over the whole season, but Holgate's been brilliant since he got in the side, and you know, we've seen what he can bring from a centre-back. You know, you think the reference in the article, the goal at Brighton, when he stepped out with the ball and played around the corner for Dom, and he scored his first goal as well, didn't he, against Watford in the Cup. And he's been brilliant. You know, he's more often than not, he's played as the left-sided centre-back, even though both our centre-backs are right-footed. He played on the left because I think he's probably more comfortable on the ball than the other two in that zone. And what it's give you is he's give you the pace that maybe the other two haven't got. Mina's more command and powerful centre-back, playing on the right where he's right-footed, and you're giving him less to worry about. But Holgate's got the recovery pace alongside him. And the season hasn't been without moments when he could have done better, but I think in general, he's been excellent, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's been his breakthrough season, but it's like, you know, in terms of just stepping up and becoming a first choice player, he obviously been in them before, and he was quite successful when Allardyce first came in, and he played alongside Ashley Williams. There was the same kind of dynamic there. You know, both had particular strengths, and for those games we got the clean sheets for the first few games with that partnership. And then Allardyce started mixing them. Well, he started putting Jags in with Keane and sort of, and then he started mixing and matching, and it broke that consistency up. But obviously he went out and done his loan with West Brom last year. Come back, and obviously, like you just said, he wasn't in the team. But I think what it's been one of those years where a player grows over a season, and this is something we don't really allow players too often, is to grow into a season, because there's so much pressure on them, and after a couple of games we we 2 or 3 games we get impatient with them, and we want something else. We want the new, the next big shiny thing. Even now we're sitting here and we're like, we want a new centre back. We need a new centre back. Don't get me wrong. We need a left-sided centre back. But even in the summer, having 3 seemed it seemed a worry. But not only 3, it's because one of them was Holgate. You were like, well, there's 2. There's what Mina's hasn't hardly played any games. Keane 50-50, and Holgate we're not so sure about him. So even then we wanted another one, and having 3 has allowed Holgate to come into the side and blossom into a player. Whereas used to say, if we had got Kurt Zouma, he would have been 4th choice and never have broke through. So it's interesting the way things happen in football. Some players take a little bit longer. Some players need a few games under the belt. They need to learn the negative things, maybe to start seeing and learning and come through that. And that's what he's done. And, as we're saying there, now, Mina has been consistently the best player this season at the back, but Holgate just looks a calm presence now. Where fans look at that now and say, why isn't Holgate playing? Need Holgate in there just to, because he, the way, like you just said, he steps out so well with the ball. He's got a calmness, and they're all great criteria for a top centre back. Yeah,
he's been excellent for us, and he's played his way into being one of those players where I guess he's one of the first on the team sheet, or he should be. Very much like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's also grown, particularly since Marco Silva went out the door, and Duncan took over. But Duncan also used Mason and demonstrated Mason's versatility, obviously playing him centre at the park a couple of times, and he was outstanding to the point where you were like, well, actually, should we play Holgate in midfield? Because we need legs in there. So he's got that string to his bow as well. We know he can play right back, but he's ultimately established himself as a centre back, which is where he wants to play. So, looking at now, where for the summer or for whenever the transfer window is, it would be nice to get a left-footed defender, and we know we've been heavily linked with Gabriel, but then Chelsea apparently have been linked with him again over the weekend, so we'll have to see what happens. But we know that Carlo Ancelotti would like a left-sided defender in the squad. But what that means for me is that 12 months ago, people would have gone, well, Holgate will go out the door, because now it's like, well, it should really be Mason, Yerry Mina, and the new left-sided player, which means Michael Keane becomes the odd man out, because I just don't think he's performed well enough this season. And at 27, and with only a couple of years left on a deal, he's the one who becomes vulnerable. And
you say that. I mean, Keane listen, from my point of view, Keane goes. I'm not interested. I don't think he's good enough. I think he's coming into a time now where you've got to either sell him or give him a contract. So I think we should just sell him. I still think there's a bit of value there for some other teams to come in and buy him, probably, for around the price we bought him. But on Yerry Mina, it's an interesting one, because Yerry Mina's had a good season, or a decent season. Certainly coming off the back of last season, where a lot of people questioned him because he wasn't playing, and when he did play, he never got into a role. But he has done well this season. But there is the thing though, is at the same time, if you're bringing in a new centre back, say it was Gabriel, say we did get him, he's a left-sided centre back, so straight away you're thinking, well, he's going to play. You pay good money for him, he's going to play. Okay, he might come in and out because of getting used to the Premier League, but ideally he's going to play. He's left-sided, he gives you balance to your team. I suppose what this article is saying is that Carlo Ancelotti really likes Mason Holgate. He looks at him as a player that he can put mould into whatever he wants him to be. He's tall, he's athletic, he's got pace, he's got that presence where people now are starting to speak about him as a possible captain.
Ancelotti does as well, yeah.
He's a ball player, and you just think, actually, in terms of, if you're going to create a new partnership, it would most likely be a Holgate with a new left-sided player rather than Yerry Mina. And that's not to say Yerry Mina would leave the club, but it does raise question marks about Yerry Mina, doesn't it, in terms of his long-term...
But it does, but you've got to look at, he's a unit, isn't he? He's a powerful defender, and I don't think you can have enough of those. He's great off set plays, he's a threat off set plays in the opposing penalty area. But what it does is, and ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to create a squad where most of your players can play. Now, there's no point having... The days are gone, I think, of having David Moyes as 11 players who play, and then the rest are not there. You know, the rest are just bit part players. But also, on top of that, the days are also gone for me where you can have two teams of 24 brilliant players, because I just think players won't stick around now, and we're seeing more of more players are staying at clubs rather than just move for the sake of it. Now I feel as though that trend will continue, and the best clubs certainly have a core of 16, 17, 18 maybe, and then fill it out with bit part players. And I think that's why I'm saying, for me, Mina, it would be Mina, Holgate, maybe a Gabriel if he's the one that comes in, and then I could see them, you know, Michael Keane being allowed to leave, and then Lewis Gibson maybe being the fourth choice. 3 centre-backs is fine if you don't get injuries in those areas. It's fine, because quite clearly having 4 creates a problem, because the temptation is then to mix it all up with the best teams have settled back fours.
I suppose it depends how many competitions you're in as well. If you're in Europe, saying if you're in the Europa League,
well, you can get games
you
for
can
them,
get games
people,
for both of them then, and that, you know, we've seen other teams do that. I suppose as well, the good thing about having a young player who's come, okay, Mason Holgate, Lewis Gibson, both of them haven't come through Everton's youth ranks, but they've come to us young, you know, and you do get that affinity then, hopefully, for the club. Okay, some get it more than others. To where, like you've just said, they do want to stick around because they do feel like part of the club, and it's, you know, they're not just coming in at, like, I don't know, mid-20s, and then it doesn't really matter. But if you've got that, and you've got that loyalty, hopefully, then you can build on that. If you're bringing a couple in that you've bought, and you've got a couple that have been at the club since they were young, they will have that affinity, and I think that really helps the situation as well. If you've got 2 or 3, and also for someone like Mason Holgate or a Lewis Gibson, it's that idea of saying, well, you're young. Well, you know, Lewis Gibson's gone on loan. They've obviously told him, or they've sold to him a pathway. He's gone on loan. He might go again next season on loan, but they're saying to him, well, you'll outlast whoever's in the team at the moment in terms of the senior players, and when the time's right, we will put you in the team because we believe that, and we'll put you next to like whoever's there at the time. But we feel that you will compete. You'll have to compete. You'll have to be as good as that fella, but we'll give you the chance. And I think for Mason Holgate, that hasn't always felt like that's there, that chance. Whereas this season, I think he's probably got to a point in the season where he's gone, there's a real chance to get into this team. I've got to take it. I've got to take that. You know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin's the same. I've got to take that chance while it's there. That extra motivation and
something Tom Davies needs to do, and he hasn't done it, has he? And we're seeing it. We've seen it with Dom, and we've seen it with Mason Holgate this year. And for Tom Davies to, and we'd love him to nail down a place, he's got to step up. Even there doesn't have to be a finality about Tom Davies. It doesn't have to be he's either world class or we have to sell him. He can just be a decent squad player for Everton. And what I mean by that, we've seen an example of that doing the watch-along we did at the weekend. You know, got Alan Harper in the middle of the park in that game. Alan Harper was a very good player. He wasn't a first choice Everton starter. Played a lot of games for Everton. Yeah. Always did a great job, and the players we were there at the Howard's Way film, and the players were talking about Harper and Richards and saying, without them, we wouldn't have won nothing. They were our best players because they'd come in and do the job and never let anyone down. And Tom Davies needs to get to a level where he comes in and does himself justice. There's a lot of good things he's got in his game, Tom, but at the minute, he stood still.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is where football is now. The expectation on any player, any young player, you don't get that much time now to... you know, assert yourself, that honeymoon period. comes and goes very, very quickly. I think that's the irony, though, of Mason Holgate this season, though, is that honeymoon period had gone, and he went on loan, because it's Everton's favourite mantra, isn't it? Send them on loan. And it works if for me. I've always said I don't really fancy the Championship because I don't think it's a comparable level to the Premier League. But sometimes you do have to say, just getting them games. You look at John Joe at the moment over in Germany. He's obviously doing all right. I think he started really well. I think it's tailed off a bit, but that will happen because it's your first season playing football competitively every game. Now, like when he comes back, what are the expectations? What were the expectations on Mason when he came back? None. There was no expectations on him, was there really? In terms of but he went to, that's what I'm saying. It was the irony about going to West Brom was there was no expectations on him when he come back. I think they'd love to have kept him on loan.
Yeah, they loved him.
But there was no expectations from Evertonians. We were just like, oh, he's back, wonder what'll happen. He never started the season, and that helped them. And then, as we said, then he played in Sheffield Wednesday in the League Cup. Well, he wasn't even great that night.
No.
He wasn't even that good. But as you said, Michael Keane played himself out of the team. But I don't think at the time anyone was really screaming for Mason Holgate to come into the team. That was the irony. It was more like, we haven't got another centre back. Oh my God, it was what no one was going. Let's play Mason Holgate. He got a couple of games, and then suddenly people going, he's playing well, he's doing well. The Brighton goal. Oh my God, he's stepping out. He's giving us something. Suddenly that partnership came out of nowhere, him and Yerry Mina, at the time when we really needed to pick up wins. And then Duncan come in, Carlo Ancelotti came in just right at the right time for him. But there was no expectations on him. So I don't know whether other people can do that. I don't know whether Tom can do that. Because with Tom, there's always somebody else. There's always somebody else can do it, and there isn't. That was the irony of what was happening before the break happened. Is that for someone like Tom Davies, there wasn't anybody else. It was oh it's him, oh it's him, oh it's him. They were all, but the same play. Instead of just saying let him play and see what happens, there was some kind of there's like a weird expectation on Tom Davies, whereas on Mason Holgate there wasn't any expectation on him at all. So I don't know. It's a weird thing.
No, but the one thing I'll say before we finish with the likes of Tom Davies is, though, Holgate did go out on loan and he did get games, and then he come back and got into the side. Leon Osman had to do it years ago when on a couple of loans. Tom has played over 100 Premier League games, been in the Everton squad since he was 17. He made his debut against Southampton at 17, and then he was in the next season. He got in, and Koeman, Ronald Koeman, who's difficult to please, played him every week for most of the time, and then strangely enough just cut him out when he wanted 57 number 10. So for Tom Davies, whereas Holgate's really grasped his opportunity, and whereas Dom's really grasped his opportunity, Tom hasn't been able to do it in the same way. And therefore, hopefully for him, he could look at Holgate as an example and go, well, he went on loan, just played every week and come back, and because he'd played every week, was up to what he needed to be, and then he's ready to go back into it. And I think for someone like Tom Davies, I honestly think that is probably his best route now to being an Everton.
Well, Mason Holgate showed the way in terms of if you want it, if you want to be a Everton player, if you want to play in your preferred position and not shoehorned into the team, because I think that's the other thing young players do. Young players just grasp at opportunities, and then it doesn't work out. Whereas I think what Mason Holgate's done is said, I want to be a centre-back. Yeah. I want to be Everton's centre-back. I don't want to be a right-back. I want to be a centre-back. And that's fine. But then go and prove you're a centre-back then in games of football. Cut out the mistakes that you were making, which for the most part he's done that. Yeah. And it's up to him now when football restarts to keep that going, because that's another thing of this break is it breaks up the momentum. It's a test for him. It's a test for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. It's a test for all young players. It's like, can you pick that back up when you come back? Be a long break. Can you pick that back up? Was it just one of those little things that all young players have, that little blip of good form? We've seen it before. We've seen it with loads of players We've seen him have those one
Well,
great...
they're hot for a while, aren't they? It's whether you can... The top players sustain it.
Keep it going.
And that's what it's about. And he said, to be fair to Mason, I seen an interview with him last week and he said that he knows he's got to get better and to stay in with a world-class manager like Ancelotti, who's at world-class players like Maldini and people like that, then he knows he's got to keep improving, otherwise he won't be in. So fingers crossed he will, because he's been excellent for us. So.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments on Mason Holgate. Would he be your number one centre-back next season, whenever that is? Would he be the one that partners any new potential signing? Or would that signing have to bed in first and it would be him and Yerry Mina? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Where does that leave Michael Keane? Does it leave him anywhere other than out the door? Or and where does that leave Yerry Mina if you believe he's the first choice? If you believe Mason Holgate's the first choice and any potential new signing comes in? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget, check out that offer with The Athletic, a 7-day trial, followed by 50% by your annual subscription. You might as well take the trial up. The link is in the description. Why not? I'll find out what they're all about. The link is in the description, so check that out. Give this video a like. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please do that. And if you want more great videos, join us over on Patreon, where we put all our videos out as podcasts as well. If you haven't got a chance to watch, you can listen. The link is in the description for that as well. Thanks for watching. See you later.